Hi guys. How are you guys doing today? So today we're going to talk about examinations, exam outlines, and how to look at the syllabus, how to mark out things from the syllabus, how to study for the NCAs. This is the most asked question of all time on my blog and otherwise on LinkedIn. How do you study for the NCAs? For all of you who know, we go through the assessment process. Once you get the assessment process, you have mandatory 5 examinations to give, and then the rest, some people get some extra examinations depending on their assessments. So I'm going to tell you where to go to look at the exam outlines and samples and then schedules. So first of all, I think you'd want to look at the schedules and see um let's check out the exam schedule for 2024. Let's see when you can give the examinations. Okay. Outline of what it is. This is the exam schedule they provide, which is fairly flexible from when we gave it, because a few years ago, you could only give NCA examinations after a few months, and it was not allowed to give them every month. So I feel this is fairly easy to do them every month, and you can do them much faster than you could do a few years ago. So this is on their website. Feel free to download it. I can put a link in my description as well. Have a look at it if you're planning to give them next year. And definitely, if you look at this video much after or see it much after, please refer to their website. It just makes it much easier because you have everything updated. Now let's check out the exam outlines. Now the first thing I did was I would go and look at the syllabi. And the syllabi is something which is a list they provide you with. So exam outline and syllabi. I don't know where it is. Okay. So this is the syllabi for business organizations. Let's have a look at Canadian responsibility, professional responsibility. So again, when you're going to go for a syllabi, please make sure that it is the most revised version, because what happens is when you're planning to do your NCAs, you end up taking notes from other people who've done them in the previous years. And please make sure that you're using whatever material and whatever notes you're using need to be from the website and absolutely new and revised. Okay. And then honestly, if I tell you, this needs to be your best friend. If you are planning to give this examination in 2024 or next month or whenever, this needs to be your best friend. You need to look at this maybe once a day, just so you get an idea of why they're going to ask you, what they're going to ask you, and how is the examination going to be? I mean, I won't go into a lot of detail of professional responsibility, but I'm just going to give you an overview on how to look at the syllabi. Format, the course is designed to be self-taught. Materials, this book, and the model code. Again, the model code is on the website. Please do not use an old model code or any model code any tuition teacher gives you. Use the one on the NCA website because they revise it time to time. Okay, so they're going to give you a course outline and where to read from. Whatever is in this syllabi is basically what is going to be in your examination. So if you're looking at these issues to consider, this might all be just one question, and they might just be like, this is a 40-minute question and you have to pay attention to this. So the syllabi is the most important. When you start studying for your NCAs, please look at the syllabi. Please follow the materials used for the syllabi and only the materials from the syllabi. And obviously, if you're taking any classes or anything, please look at the notes and everything. But everything should coincide with the syllabi. this is basically what they're looking for. Conflict of interest, just a tip, is one of the most important, and it always comes in every examination. So if you're going for professional responsibility, please study this. So what I used to do was I would go in the headings, I would underline them or highlight them, and I would study these almost every day before, basically reading anything else, because the syllabi should be the most important when you're giving the NCA examinations. A lot of people ask me how to study, when to study, how many hours should we study. It totally depends on your study level and how you study. So I personally was a reader. I used to read a lot. I would read almost 6 to 7 hours every day to clear my NCA examinations. I really struggled with my first examination because I came from a law school in which excess information or too much information was good in my examinations. Whereas when you're doing the NCAs, I feel filling in the sheets is not as important as they're actually going to read your content. They're actually going to read the answer. And if they think your answer is organized or it has certain words like, for example, what is meant by access to justice? So if there's a question which is probably, around access to justice, and your answer doesn't have anything related to access to justice, they're going to know that you didn't study enough. So make sure that you have these keywords in the syllabi noted in your head, and and like I said, it's an open book examination. So you can even walk in with your syllabi and your notebook and they're not going to say no to it. So make sure you know all these words. Make sure you're going through this. Do not just follow the book or somebody's notes and think that, even when you're going through some notes, you should have these terminologies in them. So I would say, so coming back to the fact that how to study, I would say somebody who's working, has kids, or a certain amount of responsibilities, I would say 2 hours a day, and just reading or making notes, depending on how you study. For other people who I had just gotten out of law school, so I had a lot of time on my hands. I would do 6 to 7 hours almost every day before the examination, just a month before the examination. But if you have 2 or 3 months, 2 hours a day, or maybe 3 hours a day, or maybe giving weekends should be enough of studying time for you. So this is the link where you can get all the syllabi. Please look at the syllabi. I think out of all the examinations, criminal law was the most tough for me. And I think the syllabus was amazing because they actually explain everything in the syllabi, and then they give you case examples as well. So I remember studying for mens rea and actus reus, and they actually explain everything for you, if you see right here. And then they have cases. So even if you just remember, even if you just go through these are sort of like your notes. And you go through this case, which you're going to find on Canley, anyhow, you're sorted for actus reus. So the criminal law is amazing when it comes to the syllabi, because anything and everything they're going to ask you is, honestly, they have the answers in this. So this is one of the tips. First tip is, please keep the syllabi. The syllabi should be your everyday go-to. The second should be that please go through sample examinations. Sample examinations are very helpful. They actually give you a fair idea. This is exactly how the examination looks, except this one says sample. So they're just going to give you an overview on what's going to happen if you're pass or fail, how many hours is it, it shouldn't be disclosed, etc., etc. Instructions to this, and then make sure that this is question 1, it's for 15 marks. If it says 18 minutes suggested time, make sure you're just doing maybe 18 minutes or maximum 20 minutes. I think the best bet to answer these would be print them out and use a highlighter. What I would do was I would usually forget names. I would mix up a lot of names because when you're doing notes and everything, you use names like ABC is charged with murder or something. But when you're doing the examination, they actually have proper names. So what I would do is I would highlight the names and I would highlight the sections. So that makes it very easy for you to look through. Please practice before you actually go into the examination. It just makes it easier and you're not as stressed as you should. And then sometimes what I would do is always keep a dictionary handy. There are some words where you're gonna get stuck. Like look at this one. I have no idea what that means. So I would just open my dictionary because I did in-person examinations. I'm not really sure how the online stuff works, but I always had my dictionary with me because there were times where I did not understand some words. And that just makes it easier because at least you know that you didn't miss something on the back of your head. You're just like, okay, I know this and this is what it means and we're just going to answer it. So highlighter is the first thing is names, sections, allegations. Sometimes what I used to do was because this is criminal law, I kept a separate highlighter for mens rea and separate for actus reus just to mark down the details. And then you can just highlight this probably and search it if you have enough time. But yes, 18 minutes suggested. So try doing 18 minutes, okay? And then again, 18 minutes and 36 minutes. So these are my go-to tips is please follow the minutes and use a highlighter. It just makes it much more easier for you to go through the whole examination. So syllabi and sample exams are two things. And I know everybody these days just go to tutors and everything. But some people just take old notes. So when you take old notes, please make sure that you're using something which is as good as the new revised syllabi. Always keep checking this. This is your best resource. I know they do have a resources. At the time we were doing it, we didn't have this, but definitely go through these, all of this, if you're giving the examination. It just gives you an upper edge. And I know that it's not very fun studying all this, and reading all this, but it just helps you. It helps you more. So this is how I studied, was I followed the syllabi. Let's just go over everything. I studied the syllabi the most. I followed notes from different tutors at the time, and I always referenced them back to the syllabus. And I did a lot of sample exams, and this is not the only resource for sample exams. Okay, so like I said, that wasn't the only source. If you go into Law Library UBC.ca, which is University of British Columbia Law Department side, and you'll find different examinations over here. So I just picked up one which is for criminal right here. Now, if you look at this one, it won't be exactly as per NCA guidelines, but I remember when I was doing NCAs, this was our best bet for sample examinations. And it really helps you understand looking at the criminal code and also looking at the actus reus and mens rea for everything. So if you're really getting creative and you have a lot of time and you want to revise, you can even go to this website for UBC and it will really help you practice. I can add the link below, but honestly, please have a look at the syllabi and then go refer to them because some of them can be out of syllabus for you if you're doing the NCAs. So I hope these tips helped you a lot. And the reason why, I made this video was for you to have a clear-cut idea of where to look because sometimes, we kind of talk about it or we text you back on the blog, but sometimes you guys really need that assistance. So like I said, at least 2 hours a day should work for you. Also, depending on your retention and the way you study really differentiates between people. There's no right or wrong. I would just say that when you're answering your questions, make sure it's really neat, it's organized. Like, for example, you're doing an introduction. and then you're doing a basic fair idea of what you're going to be explaining in the question, and then you're giving an explanation, and then you're giving a conclusion. So it should be very organized. Like you can't give an introduction and suddenly talk about the conclusion at the same time. And then after the conclusion, you can't mention actus reus or mens rea. So you have to keep it very organized. And what practicing the examinations helps you do is organizing your answers properly. So that's the reason why sample exams come into place. So if you have any other questions or if you need help with anything else, please let me know in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe and like for more videos like this, and let me know if you have any other questions. Thank you.